Good morning. My name is Irwansa. I'm going to present my material about philosophy of science. We start from the first chapter, philosophy in brief. In this chapter, there are some points. The first point is the philosophy defined. Philosophy means the love of wisdom. It derives from Greek words philos means love and sophia means wisdom. The word philosophy was first introduced by Pythagoras, referring to activities of pursuing such kinds of knowledge as reality, morality, epistemology by making the most use of reasons or minds. Philosophy is the study of general and fundamental problems concerning matters such as existence, knowledge, mind, language, and etc. And the second point is the aims and values of philosophy. Philosophy is an endeavor aimed at fulfilling the needs, especially actualizing needs higher than maintenance needs. And Carl Roger claimed that the most sought after aim is the fully functioning person, while Bertrand Russell claimed that philosophy, like other studies, aimed primarily at knowledge. The knowledge that philosophy aims at is the kind of knowledge which gives unity and system to the body of sciences. And then the next point is the history of philosophy. The philosophy can be classified into several periods. The first is the ancient period. The ancient period also divided into three periods. The first is the pre-Socratics. The pre-Socratics, also known as the natural philosophers, because their main interest was to find out the nature of the universe, and their main concern is the ultimate reality, or in short, metaphysical phenomena. And then the second point is the Sophists and Socrates. And the Sophists and Socrates shifted their main concern to the study of man. There are three main philosophers in this period. There are Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. And then the post-Aristotelian ancient philosophy. The post-Aristotelian, the new direction of philosophy under the post-Aristotelian philosophy is the art of living, making the philosophy more practical. Post-Aristotelian philosophers give more emphasis on the individual pursuit of the aim of life, that is to live a happy, meaningful, and trouble-free life. In this post-Aristotelian, also there are three main group of philosophers. The first is Epicurus or Epicurean. Epicurus claimed that the philosophy as the medicine of the soul. To him, the aim of human life is happiness, or the aim of human life is pleasure. Happiness is pleasure. And the Stoics claims that the happiness is not pleasure, but the Stoic claim that happiness is through wisdom. And the skeptics, for the skeptics, they claim that the doubt is the happiness, because the only safety to do it is through making our life happy is the doubt about anything. And then Plotinus aimed about God. He said that God is the true reality. And then the medieval philosophy. The medieval philosophy is the philosophy of Middle East and Western Europe. It is mainly about Muslim philosophers. And then the modern philosophy. The philosophy in this period centers on the relation between experience and reality, the ultimate relation to the body, and the implications of the new natural sciences for free will and God. And then the contemporary philosophy. Much of philosophy in this period itself more explaining about the relation between the theories of the natural sciences and the ideas of the humanities or the common sense. And then the major areas of philosophy. There are three major areas: metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. The first is metaphysics. Metaphysics is the study of the most general and ultimate characteristic of reality or existence. And epistemology. Epistemology derives from Greek words epistem means knowledge, and logos means the study of, the theory of. So epistemology is the study of knowledge. And then ethics. The third major philosophy is ethics, or also known as the moral philosophy. The moral philosophy, there are three theories of morality. The first is cognitivism. In this cognitivism, the view of morality as either true or false. So just like do not steal. Do not steal is contains either true or false. While imperativism claims that it is not only either true or false, but it's more like really rules. So it is not only do not steal, but it is not only stealing is wrong, but it is do not steal. And then emotivism. Emotivism already know that what is good and what is not for them, so it is more like express the positive and negative emotions. And chapter 2, the theory of knowledge. The first is the notion of knowledge. The notion of knowledge is just like the first mentioned, knowledge is not simply belief. One main branch of philosophy is devoted to the pursuit of the nature of the knowledge, which is epistemology. As I mentioned previously, epistemology is the study of knowledge. Knowledge is not a simple belief, but knowledge is the justified true belief. And then the requirements for knowledge. Requirement for knowledge, there are three. There are belief, truth, and justification. The first is the belief as the necessary condition. The belief as necessary condition, belief can be depicted of stored information that can be brought to consciousness, but not always on stage with consciousness. So it is more like believe that. It's like I believe that there are 34 provinces in Indonesia, not believing. It's like I believe in my friends that he will come here on time. So it is the statement contain the truth values. And then the truth as a necessary condition. The truth as a necessary condition, for belief to become a knowledge, it has to be true. So to provide something to be true, we can apply the three theories of truth. The first is the correspondence theory of truth. In this theory, it is the statement is considered to be true if there is an agreement between the statement and the fact. So just like I said, the water will freeze at 0 degrees Celsius. It is true because the fact is, if we put the water in the 0 degrees Celsius, the water does freeze. And then the coherence theory of truth. The coherence theory of truth, it is morely about the statement is considered to be true if it is coherent with other true statement. So it is, if something that said it is true and the other is true, so it is considered to be true. And then the pragmatic theory of truth. In the pragmatic theory of truth, it is morally about the relation between the relation to the consequences. So it's more like if something works, it is true. And then the justification as a necessary condition. For a true belief to become a knowledge, it has to be justified. So the justification is really take a main part in here. And then the origins of knowledge. The origins of knowledge. The first is skepticism. Skepticism claims that man cannot know the true knowledge, so they morely like doubt anything. They don't believe that man can know anything. And then empiricism. In this empiricism, is general view of the basis that content that the knowledge is get from the experience, the sense experience. And then rationalism. The rationalism claims that the truest source of knowledge is the reason or intellect. And then chapter 3, some basic notions about science. The notions of science. Science is acquired from simply accumulation of observations or fact being deduced or inducing the general ideas from a set of facts. Science is distinguished from other sources of knowledge in ways that it is based on observations. And then knowledge claims. There are 4 points: positivism, constructivism, advocacy or participatory knowledge claim, pragmatic knowledge claim. The first is post-positivism. The post-positivism refers to the thinking after positivism. They're challenging the traditional notion of the absolute truth of knowledge. And then constructivism. This position claims that knowledge through an alternative process a set of assumptions which hold that individuals' understanding of the world, which from where they live and where they work, it is from the social area. And then advocacy or participatory knowledge claim. It is the advocate of this position did not feel satisfied with the constructivism. For it did not go far enough for advocating for an action agenda to help the marginalized. And then the pragmatic knowledge claim. There is concern with what works. It is more like if something works, the main point is the work itself. It is work. It is don't really consider the method as long as it is work. So it is knowledge. And then scientific method. The first is inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is in inductive reasoning, a conclusion is reached by observing examples. In order to be absolutely certain of an inductive conclusion, the investigator must observe all examples. And then deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is a thinking process in which one proceeds from general to specific. It is the explanation first and then examples. And then hypothetical method and plausibility. Hypothetical. It is about hypothesis. One claim that it is the hypothesis first, and then after making hypothesis, they do the research, and from the research they get from the hypothesis there are some falsified. It has to be falsified, but if it can survive from the falsified, then it can consider to be the knowledge. And next is scientists' attitudes and assumptions they make. The first is assumptions. The most important assumption the scientists, the positivists in particular, make is that the events are lawful or ordered. And this is the reason that the rules of the nature can be discovered. And another assumption is truth can ultimately be derived from direct observation. And then the attitude. The first attitude of the scientist is the highly skeptical, and then objective and impartial. And then the scientist deals with facts, not values. And then the last is the scientist not satisfied with the old knowledge. They really they think that it is not really good, so they pursue another knowledge. And then scientific truth. In the scientific truth, the first is the instrumentalist view. This view is much related to the pragmatic theory of truth. So it is more like with the consequences. If it works, it is true. And then the realist view. This view of scientists is another version of the correspondence. So it is more like if with the statements that relation or there's agreement between the statements and the fact. And then the conceptual relativist view. It is coherence. It is more like the coherent theory of truth. So if something is true, if it is coherent with other true statements. And then scientific theory, characteristic of knowledge. The first characteristic of knowledge is the parsimony and explanation. The second is the theory must be consistent. The third is the theory must provide means. And the last is a theory should stimulate new discoveries. And next is chapter 4, scientific development. The first is Kantian scientific revolution. The Kantian scientific revolution is really about Kantian that said the scientific change as a cyclical model. The cyclical nature of science begins with a pre-paradigm period and then goes through with normal sciences and then anomaly, after that crisis, and finally it ends with revolution. And then pseudoscience. The pseudoscience is lower knowledge. It is not really considered with knowledge because it is not really it is unscientific. So it is some claim that it is just like myth. So it is not really knowledge. It is unscientific. And then epistemological anarchism. It is about Feyerabend that who is anarchism, the radical attackers. He claimed that there are no relative knowledge. He said that many scientists who hold belief that science is rational. He insists that all scientific methods, even the most obvious ones. And then science as a social institution. Science as a social institution, it is Wolf states that science, like politics and economy, is a social institution. Is a distinctive mark of the recent work being done in the philosophy of science. And it follows the science is an activity or practice that is organized into social roles such as research scientists, science students, science professors, science journal editors, and so forth. And chapter 5, the history of science, the first is mythopoetical science. It is like the mythopoetical is the myth itself. It was acceptable at that time because it is also known as the ancient science. Just like they believe that they are lucky number, but in present science it is considered as irrational. At that time it is considered rational because just like there are good days, there are good number or lucky number, but if we put it in this era, it is really irrational. And the second is rational science. So rational science is they really disagree with mythopoetical science that consider science just like myth. So rational science, the Greeks became dissatisfied with mythopoetical science. The rational science is more acceptable because it is rational, just like unlike mythopoetical that unscientific. So in this rational science, also there are 4 points. The first is science in early culture. The science in early culture, it is in ancient Egypt, astronomy, mathematics, and medicine has been discovered. So, and then science in the Middle Ages. Science in the Middle Ages, it is much concerned on the Middle East because it is more like on Muslim philosophers. And then the early modern science. The early modern science, it is beginning in the 17th century. The age of reason opened the avenues to the age of enlightenment. So it is the work of Newton, Descartes, Pascal, and etc. And then the modern and contemporary science. The modern and contemporary science is just like the science nowadays. It is, for example, about communication studies and computer science are among the new emerging, and it is the areas of studies. So it is about the practice of science became personalized and institutionalized. Scientists are at the forefront at the development of the scientific technological. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much.